All right, hard slam into it here. You don't need that long of an intro. It's Dave Costa, Renegade Aviator, back with you again live, and we're talking air racing. This is air racing past, present, and future. I got a real special guest today. I'm going to bring him on in just a second. I'll just preview him. It's Bill Stein, one of the elite performers that's going to be at the Reno Airshow this October. And this is a podcast about air racing, right? So for almost 60 years, the National Championship air races have been in Reno, Nevada. And it is time to say goodbye to Reno, but it's not the end of air racing. So last year, 2022, was the last Reno air race. And that's the bad news. The good news is that we will see National Championship air racing again. It's going to be in Roswell, New Mexico, home of the aliens. I classify myself as an alien sometimes, but we will begin racing in 2025 in September, from what I'm told. Dates are to come. I talked to Tony recently. As soon as we get a date on the new air races, we will let you know, but they will be in 2025. So more good news, ladies and gentlemen, and appreciation for the local Reno hometown crowd and our fans everywhere that can get out to Reno. Once again, on the hallowed ground of Reno Tahoe Stead Airport, we put together an air show like nothing Reno has seen, I think, ever. And so this is going to be fantastic. So save the dates, 4 to 6 October, the 60th celebration of Reno air racing, 1964 to 2024. So younger than me, but older than a lot of you people watching right now. Kids under 12 are free. Families, heads up, your kids can come for free. Just make them say they're less than 12 years old. And new for Reno for the air show is going to be a night air show that kicks off on Friday night. My guest will be flying Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you ready for this? U.S. Navy Blue Angels, Canadian Snowbirds, U.S. Air Force Viper demo team. But wait, you wanted air racers, right? Vicky Benzing, plum crazy in her P-51, beautiful purple P-51, but an air racer. Dennis Sanders is going to be there in his Sea Fury, and a whole lot of civilian performers, including yours truly, Renegade Aviator, flying the only Iskra jet that's on the air show circuit. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk with our guests. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Bill Stein. Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me this morning.
All right on. Well, Bill, Art Scholl Memorial Showmanship Award, Air Show Hall of Fame inductee, and recipient of the ICAS Sword of Excellence. You're one of the heroes, one of the elite people in the air show business. I really love to watch you fly.
Thank you. It's, you wonder how you get those awards.
Well, earned by what? Years and years of hard work.
Maybe so. I hope so. But you're right. This air show that's at Reno is just going to be fantastic. The Blues and the Snowbirds. There's nothing like the Blues, but there's really nothing like the Snowbirds. There's a mob of those guys out there doing cool stuff. It's just fantastic, and the lineup is just great. Vicky's in Clay Lacey's old Mustang, right? That will be back at Reno, and Steve Hinton is also flying the Bearcat. With the racing. So it is great. And you.
They're going to get me out of the way first so we can get on with the real air show performers.
It's just fantastic. I was very happy. I've been to the Reno Air Races many times. We were going to fly it when I was on the Red Baron team, and that didn't work out the one year. And so I've never flown Reno as an air show. So I'm really, really looking forward to being up there at the venue.
Do you know Tom Womack?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Tom is a buddy of mine. Tom and I flew together at the airlines.
So you flew at Frontier then? Is that?
No, this was prior to Frontier, back when we were lowly regional jet pilots together at Atlantic Coast.
He left the Red Barons, and shortly after that, he actually came out to California and did a little bit of formation training. And I got to fly with him maybe 3 times. And that actually really helped me to advance my formation flying skills. And when the Red Barons showed interest, I was familiar with the way they flew. And, Tom really taught me a lot in just a couple days. He's a skilled aviator.
He is, yeah. Nice guy too. So sometimes they don't match up, at least in my case. But so you could figure that one out from there. But yeah, so Bill, you fly. Everybody. Some people have come up to me at air shows and they think we all were military pilots, and that's not the case. So you don't need to be a military fighter pilot to become an air show pilot. You've got a ton of experience with your Zivco Edge. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in the air show world.
I get that same comment or question. People come up and it's like, "Were you military?" And I always say, "No. Nobody that flies like I do was trained by the military."
Exactly.
It's sort of true. I don't think anybody that does all the really wonky stuff. So this is a knife edge spin. My airplane does that particularly well, and that's almost a trademark maneuver for me. But I have the same script that almost every airshow pilot has that I know of, and that's I went to an air show when I was about 9, and I thought I want to be able to fly like that. I didn't really think I want to go fly air shows, in front of people. So I just wanted to fly like that, and as soon as I had money after college, I mean, really, literally, as soon as I had money, I started taking lessons. And the guy says, "That's great. I'd love to teach you how to fly. Why do you want to learn how to fly?" I said, "I want to fly aerobatics." He goes, "I don't know if I want to teach you anymore." But I started taking lessons in a decathlon, aerobatic lessons, before I finished my private pilot. I have, I don't have airline hours, but having learned how to fly aerobatics, and all of my time is aerobatics. I don't even have 200 hours in nose wheel airplane. It's all aerobatics and formation. I have maybe 8,500 hours or so, and that's mostly 18 minutes at a time practicing. And so that's what I've done. And you start out with the basics. Everything is like golf or anything else. Everything's all about fundamentals, and you build on fundamentals. Competition aerobatics is really a structured way to learn aerobatics. And I think for the type of flying I do, it's almost a requirement to go through that process to learn to manage the box and the wind and quality of figures and presentation and procedures. And then from there, you go out and really explore the limits of your airplane. That figure that you just showed is very uncomfortable.
It looks it. It looks it.
That is the most uncomfortable thing I do. It's, I call it a flywheel, but that is a lot of instant negative G's. Like, well, I don't even know, because my G meter only goes up to -5, but it's, it's, I don't know, maybe 8 or so, but it's pretty instantaneous.
And that's for people that may not have experienced negative G's, they hurt. I blow blood vessels now in my eyes if I do negative G's. So I stopped doing that. I'm an old guy now. So,
you're older than Reno Air Races. I am as well, but I think you would be.
Well, it's as we look at this and we talk about the difference of, you're nothing against jet acro, but it's pretty, the formation guys have a whole different set of criteria. But for somebody like me in a solo jet, we're not doing anything near what you can do and what you've been trained to do in that airplane. So my stuff is pretty basic, pretty docile. And you've taken it to a whole different level. And the plane is pretty to watch from your maneuvers, but you've also got a very unique paint scheme. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the whole thing about an air show is you want it to be, a 3-ring circus in a way, right? You want a diverse set of acts. So you want a whole bunch of different things. You got Jim Pites there flying a Bonanza, right? And that's really cool to see what a pretty normal airplane can do. So everything's cool. Your act is cool as can be. That's what we're all about. It's entertainment. And that's, like you said, that's part of my airplane, is that I picked PPG Harlequin as my paint to paint it with. And that's a color shift technology. So it's purple, except for when it's green or when it's blue or when it's yellow or kind of pinkish or, there's almost like a dusty brown. So there's a number of colors that it displays, primarily green and purple, but it's just crazy. it's very weird to look at.
It is cool. And you mentioned something very, very near and dear to my heart. We're here as people that are of service to those fans who come out. This is how we got inspired into aviation. We all have a different road. We all have different skill sets. We all have a different life story, but we can all come together. And what I say, air shows are excellence demonstrated. Nobody needs to go out there and say, look at me. You can look at them and see it. Excellence when you see it. And it's a big part of this, I think, from kids and from adults that may not even want to fly an airplane. It's a reminder that we can do things in an excellent fashion. And I know you're real big into coaching and instructing as well. Tell a little bit about that, because I think the last time we spoke, I really loved your comments on coaching in anything we do, right? Aerobatics is one.
Yes, that's like, I really like what you just said. We all want to inspire a kid, if at all possible, the way we were, and it doesn't have to inspire them to be a pilot, just to be great at something. You can, if you feel like you can be an example of picking something that you love to do and really focusing on it and dedicating yourself to it, you can be one of the best people in the world at this. And that's not just flying, it's anything. Your daughter is quite adept at mathematics, and that's cool as can be, because I was a math major in college.
Okay.
Until I got a computer science degree out of the math department. But it's like, I think that's awesome, and that's great. I like coaching a lot. What is wonderful is to watch someone set a goal for themselves and then help them figure out how to achieve and accomplish that. And that's really what it comes down to. And that's a very special process that you get to take part in with someone, and you get to share their joy for their accomplishment. And it's very fun.
It is, and as we tell people, it's, you're an instant success after many, many hours, tens of thousands of hours of practice. And I think that's what all of us need to remember is that, we may start at something that we have a passion for, and need to go out and find those skills, and need to be humbled at times. I'm still humbled today. I can get into an airplane, the more experience we have, the more we realize we have much more to learn. Much more, we need to knock that ego off. People think air show performers have these huge egos and, believe they're God's gift to aviation. And everybody I interview and talk to, people like yourself, are quite the opposite. And I think that's why, I do these podcasts to bring your perspective out, because we are too much today where we want things yesterday. And to be able to do what you do, it's one thing to do that at 6,000 feet in the air. It's another thing to do it. You were about 50 feet off the ground right there.
Yeah. Yes. That's true. You just apply yourself and go for it. And you're always learning. I've never really met a group of people that were as goal aligned as the airshow pilots that I know, in particular the formation ones. But everybody's learning. The people that know everything don't last very long for one reason or another. But they don't really last very long. They don't really mesh with the culture. We're all there because we like to fly, not because we like to show off. Although most everybody likes to show off, but I like practicing at least as much as I like flying air shows. I like working on new figures. I have a couple friends in the air show business that I practice with a lot, and that's, spending time with them, and we're all working on our stuff is just really what it's all about, even more than going to the events themselves. And if you're that way, then you're going to do pretty good.
Well, and it's you're probably somebody who self-critiques harder than anybody watching what you're doing, right? I mean, that's self-critique, that's self-analysis.
Yes. Sometimes I watch these videos and I cringe at how boring I am.
Well, yeah, believe me, I get down on the ground as well. I say I got a lot more work to do. I mean, but this is why we talk about the Reno air races, right? And everybody always was saying when we were racing at Reno, they said, why don't we have a great air show? You know, why doesn't the Reno Air Race Association put on a fantastic air show? Well, because we were racing airplanes. So now we're bringing a fantastic air show to Reno. And we're going to be racing again next year. So what I tell everybody, be part of the solution, not part of the peanut gallery that likes to pontificate. Come on out and see the Reno Air Show. That's going to it's going to inspire people to show up in Roswell next year.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So be there to be of service, I guess. It's talking about air show performers, people that want to, get into their extra or get into their pits and be an air show performer. Well, that's easy to say as somebody that's learning the hard way, much tougher to do, right? Yeah. I mean, you just don't show up with an airplane and fly, especially to that level that you fly at.
Yeah. Yep. That's absolutely right. I flew the air show at Holloman Air Force Base, I don't know, maybe a month ago. And I flew over Roswell when I left heading east. And I looked and thought, oh, man, there's going to be a lot of people down there next year sometime. And it should be very interesting.
There is. There's a shot of it. There's a shot from the air.
That's what it looked like.
So lots of open space to go fly in. And that was the big thing on the Reno air races. It was just, the town of Reno was just growing. And there was an encroachment. There's no bad blood. There's people talking about bad blood towards Reno. It's nothing like that at all. It's really a gift, back to that Reno local community to thank everybody for 60 years of fun. I'm predicting big parties out at Roswell because, when you start something new, there kind of not a lot of rules, right? They haven't figured out all the rules yet. So I'm thinking there's going to be barbecues and campers and people flying in and just people having a blast until they crack down on all of us in 2020.
Exactly. We don't know. The world doesn't need another Burning Man at this point.
That's what I'm thinking. The Burning Man of air racing. I think. Yeah. We don't even need to take a shower. I mean, why not? It does.
Exactly right.
Very cool. Bill, what, you probably talked to tons of people getting started in aviation. What kind of comments would you have for somebody who wants to just get started and fly airplanes?
Well, there's nothing in my life like flying an airplane. The world's a beautiful place from 1,000 feet. It is such a liberating experience to just be in the air with, there's very few rules when it comes down to it that affect your ability to go out and aviate. And so there's nothing like that. And the day you first solo, you learn something about yourself as well. There's a confidence in accomplishing that, and it's just great. So flying to me is about enjoying the journey. When I first started flying, I wanted to get my license in exactly 40 hours. And, I soloed in 9. And, I had all these goals of metrics that I wanted to achieve. And then it occurred to me, I want to fly aerobatics. So if I can start taking aerobatics lessons before I get my private pilot's lessons, then no matter how many hours I have, they're good hours, So if you want to fly, enjoy the journey, learn as you go, and just make it as valuable to yourself as you can.
That's a great comment there is, enjoy the journey. I think a lot of times we just get stuck in life. That's why we do air shows, right? We all have different challenges in our lives, but you need to enjoy the journey because no matter how bad it is, it's going to get better. No matter how good it is, it can get a whole lot worse. So just enjoy the ride. Because everybody's got excuses today. Well, we all fight the excuses for whatever we want to do in life. My daughter's book, when she wrote Math QRH, she was telling me, well, I don't have any math. How can I get into a big school? I said, well, you take really good notes, turn those good notes in math into a book so you can help other people. And I think a lot of our success in life comes from being of service not standing with our hands out, right? So, you know, you're not, we don't become rich in the air show world, but we become rich when you share your gift with other people so they may share their gifts.
Yes, yes, you're exactly right. You know, we all ran away and joined the circus when it comes down to it, and we all talk about the family, and you know, that isn't really a cliche. It's pretty much how it feels when you're out there. And every now and then you have a circumstance in life where you have to really assess what's going on and the decisions that you made. And I certainly remember not that long ago thinking, I don't know, you know, like I had a pretty good job. You know, like it'd be nicer to have some money today. And then I think, wow, you know, the decision to run away and join the circus to go fly was the best life decision I could have made. It's really provided a life that I've just loved living, you know, for the past 20 some years. It's been fantastic.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And, you know, I mean, how many of us, no matter what we do in life, can say that? And we all can, I guess. We all need to choose our own path.
Yep.
And go at it with that passion. We only have this one life to live, last I checked. Unless somebody knows something different, let me know. You know, I might be reincarnated as I don't know, a frog or something. But in the meantime, we have that one life to live. And that, again, I harp on that with air show stuff, because that is possibility. You can't do what you do in an airplane. It's impossible. So that's what people will tell you, right? It's impossible, yep. Bill. You can't do all that stuff, yet you do it every day.
Yep. And it's cool that, you know, Wayne Handley was my mentor, and he was just at the time where monoplanes were coming into existence, and, you know, they were strong enough to start doing stuff. And he learned from radio control guys how to do some of the endo tumbles and things like that. And he mentored me. And as that's happening, the next generation of the high strength airplanes comes out and takes breaking the airplane even more out of the equation. Not that it's completely out, but it's pretty much you know, is very minimal, and you can start to do some crazy stuff. So I'm really happy with the timing of me deciding I wanted to learn how to fly aerobatics, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
Well, there is. I mean, yeah, those. I mean, I mean, a Pitts can't do what that airplane can do with the Zivco. Who knows what'll be out here 20 years later? It might be a drone flying air shows. I just got back from Moses Lake Air Show, and they had RC models doing air show performances. Yep. You know, so. Yep. But there's something about putting your butt in the seat right there. You mentioned something though that I want to go back on. Finding a mentor.
Yep.
That is so scary for people, right? How do you approach a potential mentor? Is that appropriate to ask?
Boy, you know, it depends. It really does. It seems like there's people that are built to sort of be helpful, as you say, of service, and they're around. And you know, I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and there was a locus of talent around Bill Barber, who was a mentor to a group of people. I moved to California for Silicon Valley, and there's a locus of talent around Wayne Handley, who was a mentor to a whole lot of people. And then, you know, as I get better, I end up with friends in Shreveport, Louisiana, and there's a locus of talent there around Marion Cole, who was a mentor. So there's actually some in Florida, you know, St. Augustine and Pompano. There was the same kind of locus of talent. And those are the spots where I feel like most of the air show people come from, is those areas and people influenced by them. I think that it's hard to find a mentor. You have to somehow click with them, you know, communication wise, right? If they don't speak in a way that you understand, then they're not going to be a good mentor. A mentor is someone that understands you, that's willing, that takes the time to understand you and communicate in the way that you communicate. And then you have to get their attention. And usually that's by working hard on your own to accomplish, a set of things, not having hurdles stop you, and getting to a certain point where it's clear that you're dedicated and really ready to be mentored. It's hard to be mentored. It's at least it's hard to be mentored as it is to mentor someone, I think.
No, that's an outstanding comment, because
Yes.
you're right. I mean, that mentor, once they made a decision to give you kind of open the door a little crack, they're watching for that stellar effort back, right? That
Yeah.
you got to drop that. I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got it. Right.
That's exactly that's you don't, nobody has to be perfect or anything, and everybody's got good days and bad days, but if you explain things away, that's exactly the worst habit that I can think of. So yeah, what you're saying is so astute, because that's the biggest hurdle that people put in front of themselves with learning, is explaining away why they didn't do it well.
Yeah. And that take that scary step to approach somebody. I've had fingers stuck in my face, and told I have no business doing whatever it is I was there to do. And sometimes that can be a help. That person may not be your future mentor in whatever you decide to do, but sometimes that wake up call or that finger in the face, is also helpful. I think we all look at each other and we think we have it worse or harder than somebody else. And we find time and time again, it's not the money, it's not even the talent. Sometimes it's the willingness to stand up despite our challenges. And I'm not here to say my challenges are hard or easy or somebody else's. So we may look at somebody and determine them to be a spoiled brat or somebody not worth our time. And I'm repeatedly proven wrong through my life.
Yes, we are. We're all the time. Yeah. And that's something you got to remember too, is like, you don't really know, you're repeatedly proven wrong throughout life.
Well, yeah. I'm finishing up a book. It's called Shut Up, Show Up, Be Excellent. And you said it, stand where the people doing what you already want to do are doing, and be of service in some way. Do something, but stand there. Like, again, 40 years of hard work, and we can become an overnight success.
Yeah. Thanks about that, I think. But it's a wonderful journey.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on time. Just explain a little bit about what the fans are going to see you doing at the Reno Airshow, since that's what we're here to talk about.
Okay, so like we said, every act is different. You want a diverse set of acts. There's a jet truck, there's all these different things. But for my act, what is kind of the measure of success for me, is, do people go, wow, is that like, airplanes can't do that? So I would like to show the airplane clearly not flying to the crowd as much as I possibly can. If it's going end over end, it's not flying. If it's going backwards, it's not flying. So there's those moments, and you want to show those, and that there's a unique situation that the airplane's in, and it's cool looking, and that's what I would like to maximize. I like a high energy sequence. I bought my Edge 540 because I like the energy that it carries. So I like to come in pretty fast and keep it going pretty fast throughout the box. And it should be a compact sequence that, is right there in front of everybody. But it's about having fun and doing some kind of unnatural stuff with the airplane, and just sort of making it clear that airplanes shouldn't do that. And that's what it's all about. They shouldn't do this.
No, they should not do that. But clearly it's doing that. I don't even want to know how to, I can't even imagine how to get started into that maneuver.
And so, that's also sort of uncomfortable, but I do it like hundreds and hundreds of times every year. But my center of gravity is probably about, I don't know, 1.5 feet, a couple feet in front of my G meter. And my G meter shows like -4 during that knife head spin. So I don't know what my head is, but it's about 1 rotation a second in a knife head spin. It's a memorable experience.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And, this is, Yeah, airplanes should not do that, but they clearly do. So
Yeah, they do. Some of them.
the impossible is possible.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please come out and see Bill Stein fly at the Reno Airshow, October 4th through the 6th. You're going to be doing an evening show and then both of the daytime shows. I think it's just going to be a blast. And seek out, when you see Bill walking around, say hi. Say hi. It's you can see he's a normal guy, as normal people can be in air shows, right? I will never call myself a normal guy. That's people all laugh at me. But yeah, Bill, thank you so much for stopping out with this. It's so appreciated, and I look forward to saying hi to you again at an air show soon. It'll probably be the next one I see is going to be at the Reno Airshow. And you've helped me. A lot of your comments, and when the first time I interviewed you, a lot of what you said really hit home with me. So I want to give you a public thank you.
Awesome. That's very kind of you.
Right on. All right. Well, Bill, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for joining us on the show. It's fun. I get a kick out of it. That's my lovely wife, Laura. And,
she's darling. Yes.
She is. Believe it or not, she's aged a whole lot better now. She's the same age as me. I look like 10 miles of bad road, and she looks like a teenager. So kudos out to my wife. I have to say that because she's tiny but wiry. So right on. Bill, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate it. It's been great.
All right.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.